I think I'll just get the live stream going and get people in here too then.
Thanks.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Vince. Yes, I believe so. So you want to start with that, you mean? I see Mr. Kesh is there now.
Good morning.
Okay, so should we give the official beginning?
Yeah. 你可以走走就可以，人家就看已经在录了。
Okay, and we're running on live stream. And let's make the announcement. It's the 85th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute.
Excuse me.
It's October 29th, 2015. And we're in the middle or toward the end of the week with these power systems and the teaching for the blueprint this week. And today we'll have some presentations from some people that are working on those systems, as well as other teachings from Mr. Kesh. So I think we're ready to go there. Go ahead, Mr. Kesh.
Good morning, good evening, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this presentation. Today is part of the Blueprint Day and part of the workshops, normal Thursday morning workshops, which has been done for nearly over a year and a half. Today we try to see what's the next step to complete the blueprint. There is people who have already produced some things and they have made the rings. I have to tell you and warn you to make sure that your rings are fully nano-coated and fully put into GANS material and dried properly. If you don't have a full cover GANS on your rings, you'll find out your system will not operate. So if you are not sure, put the system through the GANS liquid for a second time to make sure it's fully covered, because without it, the nanolayers do not interact. The next step of the development of the blueprint to be able to add the system into or connect it to the main is that if you connect your system, which you have already done, the 3 stack.
I'm on the Knowledge Seekers workshop live stream. Well, there's probably no, because there's thousands of people on the Knowledge Seekers workshop. Because that's the one that I've already announced, I believe. So I'll make an announcement on the other site there. We'll try to redirect them. Thanks, Vince.
So what we've seen and what we said, your system at the moment should be on 3 stacks. What you did, or what you should have done by now, you should have had your central rings and you had your outer rings. Doesn't want to undo. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so you have your second ring, and what you should have done by now, you should have connected somewhere here from your central gravitational, and you would have had a line out on the top end, where this would have been the negative, or in a way input to the tower, and this would have been what goes out of the tower. You connected the positive end of this to the negative end of that, and positive end of this to the negative point of that, and you should have got something like this out. Now you have a unit like this, but to be able to connect it to a power supply, we have a lot of ladies talking here. When they come, there's a coup d'etat outside. So we have to carry on in a way that this unit can be added to power supply from one end and can be connected to the load on the other end. To connect the stacker to be in correct condition, you need to add your system in 2 new ways. And you need a connection to your power supply. If you connect as it is, your response power will not be that good, and the power supply can be erratic. So what you need to do is to add 2 units into the system. 1 unit here across the 3 plates, and 1 unit across the load or power supply. These units, what we call plasma capacitors, are essential. Otherwise, you will not create the condition to filter the system into plasma as you need it. So what you need to do, you need at a point where you connect your line or of the gravitational point of the first plate and the magnetical point of the last plate, you need to put 4 plasma capacitors in parallel with the load. This allows you to push the power and get synchronicity out of the set. You need the same set of 5 plasma capacitors in parallel with the power supply too. This way, the system responds totally on a balanced state. You need 5, or here in the power units which we deliver, you have 4. But 5 is much more practical. It's much easier to handle the power supply. So you made a stacker. Now you need to make yourself 8 or 9 capacitors, plasma capacitors. In Philippines, they are using conventional capacitors in that series. In Italy, we have used plasma capacitors. How you make a plasma capacitor is extremely easy. What you do, you take one of those nano bars which you made. You take a fire resistance paper. Fire resistance paper for you can do at home is the papers you use for baking, which you put at the bottom of the oven that they don't burn. You take the paste which we asked you to keep, and all you do, there are videos of this on the internet, how to make capacitors. So all you do, you add a small amount of the GaNs in a paste, and all you do is rotate it or put it anti-clockwise. It's important to understand anti-clockwise into the paper. Then you seal it. What you need to do now is to produce, if you have done it, to make small coils which are tight enough that what you can do, again anti-clockwise, you have to look in the direction of the position, and you put the tissue paper with a capacitor inside. This is a simple plasma capacitor you make, and you secure it and tighten it with insulation. This has to be insulated. So what you do, this should be totally tight, so you increase the tissue papers, and it has to be secured that it stays in position. This, what you put in, the simple wire, this is your negative point, your entry, and the other side of the coil is your exit. The way you position is the single piece wire gets connected to the line in parallel with each other. So what you'll have is 4 of these sitting in line with each other, and you connect all the negatives together, all the positives together using the wires you had, which you nano coated, and you connect them as one unit to the live line of your wire. If you make these 2 units, these 2 stacked units of parallel capacitors, you make another 4 for here, on the same position, negative and positive to the line. So now what you need to do to build these capacitor units. These capacitor units are the key into being able to transfer the AC into a plasma capacitor into plasma condition power. The units which were given to the government carries only one capacitor, and they could be dried up, but if we can replace it, or a unit will be sent to them. Because we've seen problem with a couple of them that they dried up in production. So the units are working, but they don't perform the way they should do. That's what happens. If you don't get a power unit out of your units when you receive it, this is the only point that the capacitors could be not working. But in the production, it has been looked after that this doesn't happen. So you have a very straightforward system with capacitors. So when you look, this is your wire, the simple wire. You added what you call the GANs. You covered it with a tissue paper of fire resistance, and then you added anti-clockwise. It's to do with my ring. Then you added an anti-clockwise coil on it. This is the negative point. This is the positive point. You put it in parallel with the line of power. I explained to you. Once you made it and is in that set, what you're going to have is that's the coil, and you need 4 of them. Or 5 of them, and this was your center line, the single wire which came in. You connect the wires together this way. You connect these 4 together, and you get a line from it. So now you made 4 parallel. This stays your negative, and this stays your positive. So this is what sits there or sits there. Then the final stage, when you made your parallel sets, is connecting the final piece. The final piece will look like this. You have your stacker unit with the 3 stacker on it. The wire has come out there, and you have a wire here. This is the end of this cable where you plug in. You plug in your wire to the power has a neutral and a live line. So what you do, you cut into the live line, you cut the live line, you connect the negative of the system to it here. So what it is, your connection, the interface is on your live to the negative. Your capacitor has been set here. The capacitor set of the 4 sits along here. You have put a capacitor set here. You have put a capacitor. You have put a capacitor. What's happening? It's jumping. You have put a capacitor set along here. You connect, then your load to here. This is this wire. This wire which comes to the plug gets connected here. And your other wire gets connected back here. So this is your full set power unit. You connect this to a plug into the load, into the power supply, and this is your load. This is your power supply, and this is your load. This is a total structure for a power supply. This is the total blueprint. As I said, by today, we complete it. And if you have managed to complete this, you should be able to connect. Make sure there is no moisture in your capacitor. It's dry enough, otherwise you get the sparks. And you can connect it to the load. What we've done, we have added a thermometer measurement system somewhere here, where if the wire gets heated, you get breaking of the circuit, which means you cannot pass 2 kilowatt. So you have the safety that if you overload on this side, the line heating up your coil will disconnect you from the main. You cannot damage the system. It's set at 55 to 60 degrees. You need it. You need to put a thermometer at this point. This is what you have in the blue box. There is a possibility, very high chance. We are not pre-announce it, but we have achieved what we were looking for, the first step of generators. Maybe by tomorrow we might be able to confirm. We were looking for resonance vibration of the plasma, totally using a plasma condition. I was talking 2 or 3 o'clock this morning with our people, and it seems that the system is working on a constant basis. So if we push it within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and what we see is correct, in the coming weeks, most probably you don't need this anymore. You become a self-sufficient power supply generator. Because to create the resonance, to create the resonance was the main problem. We've seen that we have achieved it. It's just a matter of enhancing it to be able to do the job of the supply resonance. And there's a possibility by tomorrow we announced a new development that you can extend the power of the unit to further loads than 2. Otherwise, we already have the unit, we found a solution. But if we see correct, we carry on the teaching of the Monday I'm not here. We carry on the teaching of the blueprint to next Tuesday, Wednesday, till people make their units and collectively we can demonstrate. So it's not that just we finish. A lot of people are making a lot of pieces around, trying to get things together. So on Monday, there's a possibility that we close. It's the 1st of November on Sunday. Some people would like to have a Monday off because of the 1st of November holidays in Europe. And if not, teaching carries on internationally. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we go back on the Blueprint Live that people can demonstrate their units. And by then, hopefully, if what we see is correct, we will introduce a new technology. If we think we are correct, we seen it to be correct, that you can convert any resistor into a non-resistive supply, which means you can add heaters, all sorts of resistive material into the circuit, but the box will see it as non-resistive, which means you can add 2 kilowatt, 4 kilowatt loads into the circuit. We think, if we are correct, we have managed to bring that conversion in. It will be very small. It's the size of maybe 3 centimeter diameter, which you can actually add to your heaters like as an extra component, and the system doesn't see that resistive. And you can bypass it, so you can use it as a non-resistive load, but in the background is the heater element. This changes the whole structure. So we can go into the next step of mass production, small units that you can add, like adapters. You'll be more or less this size. Very much. We hope it can be done. The work is getting done in the background. All you do, for example, you add like adapter like this into your plug, and you add the load, resistive load at this point. So the system doesn't see it. It looks more possibly can work, but if what we call cascading doesn't work, which is too expensive, these can be marketed at about €5 or €10 a piece. You can add to your system and plugs around the house to add to it. At the moment, the people who are using this system in their houses, they report very simple conditions. Every time you plug in and plug out, you see a movement on your meter, but then it stops and it shows as total non-resistive load. So when you run your systems, after a few weeks, you should be able to run a system, hopefully non-resistive 0, resistive maybe 10-15% of the supply. But what we see in our research comes correct. We should be able, hopefully by next week, if it shows the preliminary condition, to announce the production of a generator, which takes you off the grid altogether. It's 3-4 weeks now work has been done, and if the development completes, we bring it out as another Blue Day week, and we put it on that you produce generators, you become off the grid totally. This is what a lot of people have been asking for. You become generator. This morning, I was working about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It seems that the vibration we were looking for has been achieved. It's slightly, you should take another unit like this, but if the research completes and is done, as usual, we immediately bring it into production. What's it going to do, the way it's structured, there'll be another unit like this next to it. because it's volume, it has to be done the correct way, and if it works, it'll be another unit next to this unit as its power supply. So, or all we do, we stack this up, double the size as one unit. As we said, this is a change in the structure, change in technology, and we have to go through all its ups and downs and learning new things with it. Be careful, as I said, when you make these capacitors, how you do it, different people, you can see it on the internet, how it's done. It has to be very tight. It has to be in touch, complete. It cannot be loose. And you have to make sure there is no water moisture in your capacitors. And then what we do, we have used a special capsulation in our systems to capsulate it. And you have to do the same and make sure that the rings are slightly separate from each other. They don't touch each other. So the system, the unit is workable, and the first unit for delivery has left the factory. They are on their way to you according to what we've done, according to the first order, first delivery. So by Tuesday, hopefully, or by Monday, all the units which has been paid for should be on their way to your destinations. Be it the car unit, be it the power unit. By Monday, Tuesday of next week, the whole delivery will be completed. Any questions? Yeah.
Both sides following also the positive and negative?
Yes, it has to be the same. On the load side, thank you very much for asking that question. For the load side, you still have to be careful in your. The question was that on the load side, we have to watch for positive, negative. The answer is yes. You have to, if you look inside this unit, if you can get close enough, Fabio, if you look close enough, you see there is a dot, a green dot, placed inside. That it guarantees, it shows you, with the power supplies, once you come out of the system, is irrelevant with your appliances, because our appliances are set to work either way, except if you are like British system with the 3 plugs, 3-point pins. Most of the systems, you have to make sure the plug system is, but we've seen it. If you follow the plug system, it should be the same. One of the ways which is done now in the testing in the houses where it's tested is that is in the blueprint. You will see it. This is your meter from the government. You have your lines coming out, and you have the lines coming from the grid. You connect this into the what you call the live wire. This is where your unit should go. You sit on the live line of the system. This manual is on the blueprint page. When you receive your unit, it's just one page on it with a link to the site where you have to look for instructions and connections. We are not producing any paperwork. You bought the technology on the internet. You should be wise how to use it. So you go on the internet to get the instruction how to use, and just update it very rapidly. As it comes in, we update it. As we see things, we update it. And you can go to the blueprint page if you have problem with it. So you have one part which is for connection, and if you are producing something else yourself, you can put on the blueprint page. If you discover something new or different way that you see performance different way, send it to the webmaster of the Keshe Foundation. This is what I found out. We put it, we add it to the blueprint page. So we collectively add to the knowledge. This is how it seems and what it is. In the car unit, this is the power unit. In a car unit, you connect the system into part of your engine and to your battery from the two lines which they come out of your system. The physical picture of this will be on the Magrab car unit to show you where to connect it. We will not supply, or we will supply single line wires where you can connect into the cigarette lighter or to the power system. As you receive your unit, you will see how it has been set up, or you can reset it yourself. So this is the total blueprint. Tomorrow, this is the copy of the key which was supplied to the ambassadors. Tomorrow morning, sometime tomorrow during the day, we load this on the internet. The way the patents were released, you saw this package being given to the ambassadors. Tomorrow we load this on the line. So if you're looking for a blueprint, the blueprint, this is a copy of the ambassador's key. There's some minor development which we keep on adding to it. So we'll download this on the website. You can download it and copy it. Any questions? You're scratching your head.
Mr. Kesh,
Yes.
this is Kel from America.
Yes.
I had a question or more of a comment, and it was concerning the car unit. I was actually entertaining a creative idea about taking nano coils and putting them on the starter, the alternator, and the battery to condition the car.
Pardon?
I was taking coils and I was putting coils on the starter, the alternator, and the battery of the cars.
Yeah.
As a form of conditioning the cars. And we were also starting to put a couple of nanowires inside of the gas tank and put a star formation underneath the gas tank, glue it underneath the gas tank with drops of gases. And I just wanted your comments on it.
No comments. When I haven't tested, I can't tell you. It's like somebody walking in here yesterday and says, my Gans was eaten by my dog. What can I do with it? He's laughing his head off. I don't know. I can't go to the dog and say, can I have it back? Or we go, is it okay? It's still alive. But it's faster than before. The dog, both of them. These are the tests you do, so share the knowledge with us. You got to be careful. When we announce something here in the teachings, people go and do it, and then they say, you told us, this is what you said. This is what you tested, share it with us. There are different people doing different tests. There are people who are adding gas material in their batteries. There are people who are adding nanomaterials into the air filters. There are people who are connecting or nano coating the spark plugs before they put it in. There's all sorts of activities goes on. You decide what it is, if it's better or it can change. We have seen conditions as we see, as we learn, we share. But you'll find out that especially, for example, in your car system, batteries, power supply, there is no, there are no capacitors. You cannot put capacitors in a car unit. It has to be on a plate basis only because you change the power plasma. The battery supplies itself. We have no capacitors in these, or in some versions getting developed. We've taken out that because you don't need it. And you have to consider case by case. Don't forget there is research going on in the background. In the factory, literally the guys are testing new things as it comes. In the next couple of weeks, we'll release the way of new, what they call soft filtering system. Once we test it, it'll be released. There's a possibility that we will release a water unit in the next coming weeks. What it means, you can connect, if you are correct, you connect the water unit to this system internally, and all you do, you can take physical water from the system. It's in development, and once it's completed, we teach it. So you can eradicate any. We have seen the possibility of creating of up to, this is at the moment, theoretically can be done, up to 800 liters of water per day. It's a huge amount of water. You can literally produce, if you put your system the right way, up to 800 liter absorption of the gravitational magnetic field from the environment into one system. But this is, at the moment, has to be quantified. If we achieve 80, we'll be happy. But theoretically, we see that kind of, what do you call it, water production. Even if we can produce 10, 20 liters of water a day, it's a huge amount in what do you call the areas where there is a shortage of water. There's a lot of research going on in the background, but as usual, we don't disclose our researchers, the developers, and this is how the structure will work. As I said to you yesterday, we gave the units to the ambassadors, and the ambassador of Nigeria in responding. We have put her in touch directly with Alex. They've tested the units. And yesterday, the ambassadors from Rome and Alex in Nigeria, they were spoken, and they started the procedure for teaching and development of the technology in Nigeria as of this morning. Even though Alex has been teaching for the past week, 10 days there. So we see how each government takes it and how they use it and how they evaluate it. Any questions? Any questions? Armon is so sad. It's okay. What we need to do is to be able to convert the knowledge very rapidly into commercial units. So we have done, we'll go to the next step, and we'll see how the other structure goes. The Keshe Foundation Japan, as a manufacturing, is already set up, started. So we've seen the Japanese gentleman who was with us from Japan in the ambassador meeting. They have put the things in motion to start manufacturing. And we'll see the same thing in the, hopefully in Germany in the coming weeks. Any questions?
Francois Philbont asks if I had one more double coil versus a 3 double coil in that system, what kind of extra power can I expect to get from this?
Pardon?
If I had one more double coil in that system, what kind of extra power can I expect to get?
What do you mean by double coil? You mean put one more on the stacker, make it 4?
Yeah, versus the 3
You
double.
saw a 10 stacker with Renan yesterday in the factory in the Philippines.
It's stacker ND or something, yes.
Yeah, you can, there is assumption that you can increase the power, but there is an easier way to increase the power. There is what we call the cascading. We looked at it, it works perfectly, but we can discuss that tomorrow. I think for today, we have explained enough how you should be able to use your stacker unit as a power unit. Don't forget at the moment you are connected to the power. As we have achieved what we were looking for in a very soft way, we can expand it and develop it. We will hopefully in the coming weeks release the power generator. And this is what most of you were waiting for, but till it's not done, tested correctly, we keep to the same system.
Okay.
Pardon? Pardon? Oh, there was somebody talking. Okay. Pardon?
Is there a question at that end?
See you Monday.
See you on Monday. No problem. Any questions?
What is the polarity of the capacitors in the power side and the other side and another side?
On the power side, the negative has to sit from the incoming. Let me dry my hand. I had GANs on it. If you work so long with the GANs, you taste it when you have it on your skin. The texture of your mouth changes. The polarity is you put it on the live line. You put the negative side on the live line and the positive side on the neutral. It has to stay parallel in respect to the power.
The capacitor coils, how many turns would they have?
You can do up to 10s. That's what we do.
Someone asked, can we have the specs for the Philippines capacitors, please?
They are natural about 1.5 inch by 4 inches standard household capacitors, and they use 4 of them or 5 of them. It takes a huge capacity. I think if you have Renan on the line, maybe they've changed to plasma capacitors too. Renan, are you there? Can you see him online?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What was the question?
I asked, have you changed to household capacitors or are you using plasma capacitors in your system?
Right now, sir, we're still using the the conventional capacitors and some plasma. For the new units that are setting up, we're making the plasma capacitors. But for the first units that are coming out, that are in production, we're using the conventional first, so we can sell already the existing designs. But we will be upgrading to plasma capacitors for the new sets that we'll be making.
The smaller one.
The smaller type, the same as the Magra power design, a smaller type of the design, because most of our designs are large 2.2 kilovolt and 3.4 kilovolt setups. So they're wall-mounted devices connected to the breakers. So the next designs will be using the plasma capacitors already. So it will be a tabletop, the same as the Magra Power, the blue unit there, a small one.
Let me explain something or ask you something. The stacker unit, the stacker units you are using, you still use 160 and 80 rotation.
Yes, sir. The number of turns?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks very much indeed. He's trying to tell you something in the background.
Some of the wires is
Number 12 American wire.
so we're using larger wires right now, sir. The in gauge 12. What is available right now? We are using gauge 12. We're having trouble getting smaller wires, so we're using the gauge 12.
You're using what?
Gauge 12.
Gauge 12. What is available? Are you using the circuit breakers for temperature?
Circuit breakers, yes.
Yes, sir. We still use the circuit breakers.
Pardon?
That is available here.
Here. It's bigger. It's gone to 12. They can't find a 14. So in some tests, we go down to 16 in the diameter to reduce. There's a mixture of things which is getting developed. What is going to be a problem now is finding manufacturers who can produce to meet the demand of this violence. We already are feeling it here in Italy to be able to produce 100,000 units a week with a recession in Europe in such a long time for 6-7 years. Manufacturers have to gear up to produce. So
Okay.
see that. Thank you very much, Julian. Anything else you can teach us?
All right, now, sir, we're just discussing here in the laboratory right now about we have our new classmates here, so new recruits. So they are here. I'm teaching basics of guns making.
How many people have you employed, or do you employ there now?
We're just still in the factory, sir. We're using the existing manpower of Moises. So he has the existing manpower in this existing business. So the same people are using. So we're just keeping it safe level. So they work also overtime doing the units as well.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Can we have a look at this pen of yours you made? Do you have one?
What, sir?
The pen.
The pens. Okay, I'll get one, sir.
They produced a beautiful paint pens.
Here, sir. Here's the pen.
Can we share a screen?
Yes. I'll share videos.
Yeah. We're not getting it.
Okay, is my video coming?
I think it's your dogs have too much CO2 gas.
Yeah, the dogs here. Okay, here.
We have a post. This is the.
Still, I'm in the factory. Yeah. So this one is the casing, sir, that we are making. Is a wall. It's a big one. At the back.
This is your power supply.
Yeah, this is power, really power supply.
What is the kilowatts on this?
How many kilowatts ang majority to maximum? 7.5. 7.5, sir. Maximum 7.5.
7.5 kilowatt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's for bigger house, medium size houses here, and some buildings who consume. So most of the market right now, our existing market, are already buildings. So those will be the first one who can be purchasing, and will be making small ones for the people that we will be giving away for the houses for the sale. So we'll sell it to the bigger clients first. Then we give free to the one who cannot afford.
Okay. So this is your 7.5 kilowatt power unit.
Yes, sir.
How many stacker unit do you use on this?
Only 3. Still 3, but maximum of 9, 3 to 9 coils, set of coils.
What do you
can use.
mean?
So from 3 we can add 6. Nine.
You're using a combination of 1, 2, or 3 stacker loaders.
Yes, it will be 9 stacks with about 10 capacitors.
Of 1.6. 1.6 kVAR.
1.6 kVAR in conventional rating, but when we get to hold with the existing plasma capacitor, eventually we will replace these big bulky capacitors.
This is the capacitor you use 4 of these or 5 of these.
Yes, so we can go from 3 to 10 capacitors for
You
industrial.
see, this is a difference. If we can share our camera with you, part share. These are the new plasma capacitors. It's okay. Can we have that? Can we still see? Can you show us here? These are your plasma capacitors.
This is the plasma capacitors, the initial one that we have made, and we tested it already. And this was we combined this. This is the first one we have tested, the coil, and with this capacitor, which stops some of the meters that we have connected. So, so we're not yet producing the plasma capacitors because of the lack of guns. So from now, maybe after a few weeks from now, we can make more on these capacitors because the conventional capacitors is expensive and has limitations for the rating. So we will eliminate the limitations eventually if we're using this plasma capacitors.
How many turns are on your plasma capacitors?
30 turns?
Yes.
30 turns, sir. 30 turns.
Gauge 30 turns.
Gauge 12, we're using gauge 12, 30 turns on the outer coil.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much, Renan. And your medical unit, we can see in your hand, your pen.
Yeah, this one, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Renan.
Okay.
Thank
Welcome,
you
sir.
indeed. So you see the setup and the structure is the same. Now that they have used to put everything in one load to achieve 7.5, we already have loaded here 7.5 kilowatt. We can go to 15, we can go up to 22 and up to 40 kilowatt. There's a procedure to do it. Much easier what they're doing in the Philippines, which we will teach how to do it with a very compact unit. So you can increase the power. You got to realize one thing which will happen is do not plug your system in and go for the maximum to get whatever you got. You have to climatize your system in the house to achieve the total power. As I said, we are producing, hopefully, if it comes correct, which we think should be, to small units, but there is a way you can immediately increase the power consumption in the house to about 7.5 kilowatt to 10 kilowatt or 15 kilowatt. But we leave it till tomorrow or next week. Once people have built the same first units, then we go into high power units. The one thing which you will realize is, as we explained, tomorrow we will release the blueprint as we promised, and the blueprint carries everything is updated. Even the blueprint has been updated since we've given it to the government. The power supplies and the units are extremely important to be connected the right way. If you don't connect it the right way, every unit before leaving the factory here in Italy is getting tested. They go through a test for a couple of hours to see the drop in the into the system, and if it is, and it shows the drop, the system gets sent out. So we test every unit. It's been done, and That's how we submitted things for certification. Any
Mr.
question?
Kesh, there's someone that answered part of their question, but they also ask if you can show one being tested or running.
Pardon?
They're asking, well, they want to know if any of the units being sold are tested before they're sent, and you just
Yeah,
answered,
that's what I just said.
yeah. And then they say, if yes, can you show one being tested or running?
Pardon?
Can you show one of the units being tested or running?
It's in the factory, not here. We don't test it here. The factory is nearly 1,000 kilometers away from here. Any other question?
There's the question, what kind of GANs are the Philippines people using?
You can use any kind of GANs. Whatever you produce in a structure, it stays as a GANs. You got to realize, this is what I just had a discussion before this morning, and I had this discussion for a long time with the people in the university and then with the nuclear people in Belgium. When you collect the material, what they only see when they test happened here with the Italian Nuclear Center in their report. So we explained to it, is that they see the property, for example, of CaCO3. But when they test it in Raman spectroscopy, they see the property of CO2. And they say there is no CO2. But because of the calcium in the water, it manifests itself chemically. When you look, there is no gas property. They look at it as a matter. But when you look at it in Raman spectroscopy and infrared spectroscopy, you see CO2. And all the scientists at the moment, they look at this, they say it's not gas, it's just a calcium, what do you call it, COC3. And we have it. When I explained to the nuclear physicists here in Italy, when they tested, said, yes, it's correct. Because they don't have a system, or they only look for chemical reaction because they see a material. But this is not. We just had this discussion with the people who are testing in Armenia. They don't have the expertise, and they just look at the matter state of the property. They have to be explained what to do, and then they see the property of what is there. Because most of the waters have calcium in it, and this is the major pitfall they do. And then you see like what you call nickel or cadmium, again, oxygen-based. But when you test it, Raman spectroscopy, you see property of superconductors. They have to be taught. They use it chemically, and they don't see it, and they say, this is what we see. You have to explain to them, you have to test all the nanomaterials on the Raman spectroscopy infrared, because they see the matter, they add chemicals into it, they treat it like a chemical combination, and this is the failure. When they do the Raman spectroscopy, then they see the property of the superconductors. This is what we have to teach to the scientists. Otherwise, they say there is nothing new. Yeah. Pardon? Yes, if your dog doesn't eat it. He says when he builds his capacitor, just wait. Yeah. It's the same, doesn't matter.
What's the question?
Okay, I repeat the question. When I build my capacitors, the pin, the inner pin, I suppose is gauge 14, but the outside coil is another gauge?
No, it's the same. Try to use the same wires for everything.
And how many terms?
We use 10, Philippines use 30.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it just, you see in the size of it. It's a different way of doing it. I'm sure other people will come up with their own ways of doing it. There is a way to do it because now we have developed plasma batteries. In the coming days, we're going to show you plasma batteries, where you can get energy in a battery size. This is already being tested. So when we release the plasma batteries, then you have a different option with the whole thing, and you can use different gauges for different batteries. The structure has opened up. Now we can develop everything around it. But the biggest problem you have is to educate the scientists who sit there, especially as I was explaining, talking to Armin, the scientists have to be educated. This is your biggest problem, and we have enough expertise now in the foundation to teach them what to look for. Because then they say there is no difference, there is nothing there, because they are ignorant to the new product, the new testing. You have to be guided, and then when they do the testing, they see it, they understand it. Especially when you go into the governmental research level, they are becoming wary, because they have to prove you do not work, it doesn't work, or there is something wrong. But if you tell them to do the test in the right way, the way it should be done, they see what they have, and then they see the properties. If you get a system which is not working, it means the system is not coated properly. We expect 3 to 5% return on this basis. When it's gone through the production, something has happened, the coating doesn't happen, you get replaced. You always have 12-month guarantee with all the systems which are coming out. Don't forget, we promise you one thing. We inform every government to the addresses of the people which we have supplied the units to. This was the ethos, this is what we agreed we do with you, that we work in collaboration with the government. When we send the systems out, after a certain time, we inform the government in which country, how many we supplied, and what has been supplied. And then you do the same. You inform your government what you are using, and this is the power you're using. Let the society work the correct way. It's not that you give you the units and you don't need anything. Remember, try to establish a continuous demand on your circuit, which means don't plug and unplug. Every time you plug and unplug, you create a switch. The plasma has to find its balance. To find its balance, it takes energy from the grid. If you have a heater, let the heater run. If you have a lighting system, let your lighting system run. Because from now on, energy is free. Because look at it this way. This is one of the biggest stumbling psychologically we've been given because of the power supply. When you use light in any form, these are all lights we have, we've been told you have to save energy because we were burning something to convert. Now, if you understand the work of the plasma technology and you see the heating or light, all you do, you're converting energy to something else. It's never wasted. This ethos of switch the lights, we have to save energy, as of today is dead. Because you have to understand, conservation of energy allows you to convert one to another. We convert the plasma into a light, and the light affects something else. It converts to something else which the environment needs. In coming time, you will find out we can let cities lit day and night because it's all the same. These systems don't need to be recharged. Energy is continuous. The plasma releases its energy continuously. Hopefully, once we complete the vibration cycle which we are looking for, then you'll find out Any energy unit is constant, it's permanent. This, hopefully, I hope I asked if we can confirm it by tomorrow morning, or if not, by early next week. We achieved, it's taken a long time. I work with one of the geniuses of time in working with these things. I respect him a lot. He's very correct in conduct, a man with ethos. And he's working very hard in the background, testing all these things for us. And in time, with the development of the technology, we share the knowledge freely, the way you've seen. Very rapid. Even they put the power unit box on the table. This is what's going out for 7.5 kilowatts. We will change the industrial revolution in a very good way. Very, very effective way. And you've seen it there. These wall units, distribution units, this is what they have in Philippines. Here, we have to be fancy. We cover it like this, otherwise you lot don't like it. You can use a tree trunk, still does the same. You can use a coconut and put the rings in it. This is what I said to Alex and to Benjamin. I said, don't look into the West for the latest system to look so good. Work the way that the system can do. In Africa, they are not interested in air condition, whatever. We give them air conditioning system in a very close time. They have more efficient air cooling system than Americans and the Europeans. Do you know why? Because nanomaterials inherently work cool. It's the property. It's part of property. Superconductors is to go cold. Creating heat in nanomaterials is difficult. It's not easy. I explained to you in the teachings of the past, when we put copper wires in nano-coated, or if I go black, you will enjoy it more. When we put them on the heat, extreme current, we see the glow here. This copper literally melts, but the, what do you call it, the containment, this is my ring which does this. What? We have a problem, Houston. This is a software problem. What is the problem? We're not getting it. No, it's software has cranked up. It's okay, it's coming back and it's going. Okay, it seems it's okay now. So what we see glow inside the copper melting, but the shield, the, what do you call it, the cascade, the nano layer holds. And you can hold it in your hand. You hold the nano coated, but the copper inside is molten. You see the light through it, you see the shine of molten copper. And then when you let it go, the copper takes the shape back again. I've seen this 10, 20 times. No, you don't feel the temperature. No, it's not. This is one of the problems. But the strange thing is, when you speak to the people, especially now they're building the batteries, they feel the heat in their blood, in their fingers. But the nano coating is cool. Because the magnetic field of the nano layer interacting in the blood is a problem. Ah, is the teddy bear the problem? Ah, there we are. It's the sensor. The problem is the teddy bear. It moved in last night. There we are. That's why the board wasn't working. They say never work with animals and children. So what you have, you can hold nanomaterials. They don't heat up. Don't know. We haven't seen one yet.
So what was
Don't
the
forget, to be nano-coated, no, it cannot do. If you think of it theoretically, it's impossible for the wire to become nano-coated totally inside. I tell you why. Always think logical way. If you have, if this is your, sorry about that. If this is your copper, yeah, let's expand it. And now, understanding the principle of nanotechnology, which means this is a compact bar. When you nano-coat it, if I'm going to do it this way that we are correct. Let's see. I want to take over this way because then it means something you understand. This is a molecular structure, atomic structure. They're all tightly packed. Yeah. If you look at it, let's say this is each one a molecule of copper. Now that we go into nano structure, you see what happens. The spacing. If you look at it now, if we even take those off, this is the same material nano-coated. This is the problem for, I think Caroline has got to live without the ring on my hand for a while. So you have this space. So you want to keep your already nano-coated material into the confinement of, what do you call it? The cascading nano coating. The volume is not there. Because if they open up, now these have to become like this. They have to become like this. And you see, you cannot accommodate because they created a space gap. The thing most probably has to become 30, 40 times bigger size to everything to be nanocoated. So the forces of the plasma does not allow. It's impossibilities to do it. You've seen it when you nanocoat the material and you make a GaNs. It's a very thin layer of nanomaterial. But by the time you get the GaNs out of it, there's a huge amount of GaNs at the bottom because now the atoms grow up. It's like a popcorn. You put a handful of corn in a pocket. This way you plasmatically release it. It's a popcorn. It doesn't fit into the box. It just flows over. That's all it is. It cannot be done. You cannot nanocoat unless you create the environment for everything to release.
Iron or salt and iron with a convention heating, not directly release the heating. And coming and throwing inside. When I broke this wire, I broke this wire and I saw completely black inside as well. Not on the
can't hear the question there.
I don't understand.
Because magnetic field
What, is it nano-coated?
I don't know, it was black.
What, the copper?
Copper, when I broke the inside is black. Outside,
Bring it to us to see. We've never seen one. We've never seen, I've tried many ways trying to nano-coat its impossibilities. That's a different thing. We're talking about plasma. If you heat the copper, I've got to see it. If you have it, we can see it. But we tried a lot of different ways to nano-coat a full wire, its impossibilities. Unless you allow it to open up like a sponge. You got to bring it for us to see it. Because it got to be seen, because it's impossibility to open it up. We see copper when it's going the highest speed. We've seen it with the almond. When we do a nano coat producing GaNs, rapid GaNs with a high current, we get a black, what do you call it, GaNs. It's more or less in a GaNs state of nano state. I don't know what you're talking about. We've got to see it. Is the reason for it? Yes, Armin. Yeah, it's on. You don't need evidence.
Some of the nano coating, after a month using, we've seen that it's going away. Some people claiming that, after, let's say, a few days, the nano coating goes away. It's because of they didn't do it the proper way.
No, it doesn't go away. I can answer you. You can answer them very easy. When you nano coat and your nano coating goes away, it's not nano coated. No, that's not the condition. What happens? I explain to you exactly what's going to happen. Tell them to keep. You can test it. You can put your nano coated material in a sealed container and create. If you're like in a near OC level and in a moist environment area where the moisture is high and you've got the salt content in the air, which is normal. Now, instead of this box, you're having what do you call it? You're having sea salt and water in such quantity, the air moisture behaves the same. So your nano layers which you produce, they'll become GaNs as part of the environment. So if you put a plate in and collect them, you'll find the GaNs at the bottom of the plate. The moisture of the environment with the salt in it behaves like like the, what do you call it, salt water.
No, always when we did the nano coating, we had the nano coating that 6 months it produces for us.
I have nano coating from 10 years ago. We have bottles we kept.
What is the problem that he's saying that after a few days all the nano coating is done? So
First of all, ask them how they keep it, where they keep it. If it's, pardon?
in a salt water.
In the salt water. So what has happened, if it's gone, ask them to look at the bottom to see if you have the black spots. You just rinse it, you see it. The material has become nanomaterial at the bottom. It's so, you got to remember, and I explained this before, you're dealing with nuclear atomic structure, and remember one thing. What does nano mean? Nano is 10 to minus 9. That's where nano comes from. One atom is 10 to the minus 9 centimeter or meter. It's so minute, we can't see it with our own eyes. Now you allow it to expand to a popcorn, you see it as a GaNs.
I've lost the live stream bandwidth totally, and the Zoom as well. Not sure how I can.
Hello?
How I can.
Hello, are we back? Where did we lose you?
Well, I have to restart the live stream because it crashed.
Your live stream crashed.
Yeah.
Ah, so it had nothing to do with us here. How many people you have there?
835. 835 right now.
It shouldn't be that much. It wasn't our fault. It's the send date they dropped. Why? Are we on the support backup? It's come on. That's fantastic. Okay, so we are good. Hello?
Yeah, just
You're here. Okay, so we are, Wins, the 20 gigabyte new unit has kicked in, so we are safe. So we have 40 gigabytes per month to back up. We can keep it there for any drop. Okay. I do apologize with my cold this week is bad enough. Strange enough, we picked up this cold on the 16th ambassadorial meeting from somebody in the meeting. And it's 5 or 6 of us here in this area who were in that meeting, they got it. So what it is, you collect nanomaterials, as I was explaining, then you have a dust. And why they can't make fiber or something out of it, because these guys here, they're nano-coated, they kept their distance. They do the same when they're in the nano dust particle. Making fabric out of nanomaterial is an art. Because you got to remember, nanoparticles keep their distance from each other. There is a way you can make a cloth. I have solved this problem 10 years ago. Yes. Yeah, but you cannot use it as a cloth. We are talking as a fabric. You cannot use it as a fabric. You can put whatever you like into it. There is a method that you can make cloth out of nanomaterial. You have to understand it's extremely, what do you call it? It's indestructible. You cannot destroy it.
Kesh, this is Kayvon. Can you make skin or the skin of an organ out of it?
Yes. You can make a skin, you can make a cloth out of it. There is a way to do it, and you can make it in a specific way. It's a technique, because as I always say in all the teaching, as you come to it, I open the door. Till you don't come to it, are you still in pain? The same. We have a guinea pig here who's been using the pen. Do you know where the blue pen is? Who's got it? You have it. Don't go to Rome with it. They say all roads end up in Rome, but not our pen. So we understand more and more about the behavior of the material, the possibility of the expansion of the knowledge is huge, but now we're all in it. We are all in it because everybody now has a chance to produce everything they need, but we have to master the art. The art of plasma, out of collection of the plasmas, out of collection of the energies of the plasmas. In the structure of the teachings, we went from matter to nano, we went to creating the GANs, and then we went to put the GANs in the rotating coils to what you call release their energy as what we call a free plasma, and we've seen the results. Now we have to understand which part we want to harvest at what strength. This is the what do you call the holy grail of plasma technology. It will employ more people than any industry ever created on this planet. Everything we have used, we have developed over past thousands of years. Now we know how to do it in an easy way, and we'll find a way to adopt it. If you stay on this planet, this is the future. There is something very interesting. I'm going to go back. If I can go back to the, can we go back to the other page, the previous page? Pardon? Here? Here. Here. Where?
The shadow area.
Yeah, the shadow area in the upper corner, upper left.
Here. Ah. Oh, yes. How did you get there? There is no more. I'm on this page. Okay. Now, fantastic. I need teaching. I will not need to be taught. I'm always a student of life. Very interesting point. This goes into ethics of the power supply. This goes into the ethic of the system. Look at the structure. I'm going to draw it for you in a totally different way. This is your stacker unit. This is the connection to the matter unit. This is the outcome from your system. Interaction with the matter state. Interaction of energy in a plasma with a plasma. Interaction of the plasma with the pure plasma. The physicality, the emotion, and the soul. Now, you understand, when I tell you what you feel, what you have, these systems have a full replication of human body. Your physical body is a GANs state, but is in interaction with, this is covered with the GANs, is interaction with a matter state, which is the physicality of this planet. But here, it has no contact with it, but is connected with totally plasmatic condition, which is your emotion. And out of the interaction of two totally non-dimensional, totally energy-based magnetic field, you have the creation of the control, which is the soul. I explained to you, these systems are built this way. When I asked our guys to stack it up at the 3, like a pizza stacker, it looked funny. But They understand what it means. You'll find the performance, as Renan told you, they add 3 stackers, 3, 6, 9, because you put people next to each other. Understand? That's why I said you cannot do anything wrong with this technology. It's non-dimensional, and then if you want, you can use it as you do through your connection, through your soul. You connect it to a system and you make condition of the matter, where your soul, as it goes backwards, decides to your emotion, to the physicality. The technology has to be understood in its totality. What it does, how it interacts, and how it gives, the reason it gives what it gives. So if you are a person standing here, you interact with the emotional level, that what you expect out of physicality, you should be able to get what you like, because the connection is already established. This is what I said. When you interact with these systems, your wish is your command. You want heat, you receive heat. You want food, you receive food. Because now you see exactly how it works with your level. At this level is the interaction of physicality, which is this. At this level is your emotion. At this level, it works with your soul. Now, take the knowledge a step further. Then you might be enlightened through your soul. If you don't understand what I'm going to explain in the next 10 minutes, it means you're still in too much physical dimension. What happens when this connection itself is connected to this? What happened? Literally, if you connect yourself back to yourself. Yeah, it's in right plus or minus. I'm sure, look, I did it before I looked. It's green there and it's green there. I thought somebody might be clever, so what's going to happen to this? What is the conditional? What about if we connect this to another one of this here? That, or we connect this to another unit plug of this one here. We work totally in the plasma condition. This is what I explained to you. You go into 75 kilowatt, 100 kilowatt, 1,000 kilowatt. What do? In your system, you put a power unit at the beginning of the house, and you put a power unit at the end of the house. And whatever you have in the house is in the middle. This is what yesterday I explained. We supply you with the auxiliary unit. Auxiliary unit allows different structure of power. Now, take the knowledge a step further. You put a unit you give to the government, and you connect units in the extremities of a city. Now, you see what you can do with the whole city. Brennan put stackers on top of stackers, trying to go to 7.5. The test shows this is a very conventional unit to do. So we need one unit in the center, in a powerful position, and 4 in the extremities. And whatever over 3-6 months people use, gradually the whole city, the whole wiring becomes a supply for itself. The city becomes self-sufficient. This test has proven to be correct, and that's what I said yesterday to you. You can buy auxiliary unit, which is a second unit. You connect to the extreme point of the house. Your wiring to the house is in the basement. You connect one unit to the top floor, where is the end of the line. Allow it 3 or 4 weeks, and you can put 6-8 kilowatts in between. Because now you cascade it. This is what I was discussing with our people. This is a cascading of the whole house. Extend it to the city. Megawatts, gigawatts can be produced. Because all the wiring, even underground in the city which bring electricity to you, are getting nano-coated, and they are the best supply because they get all the energy from gravitational field of the Earth. You don't need to GaNs coat them, because they absorb, like the root of the plants, the energy from the ground. So what you see, this is a way when so many people use the system in an area, you all become energy self-sufficient. Yes. Doesn't matter. We've got nothing to do with British Kingdom is finished. Now everybody is equal. So what it is, you have to understand what is coming. You can give one unit to your neighbors 10 doors down the line, one unit to the beginning of the road, and one to the line the other side, and with 10 units, in 3 or 4 months' time, all of you get free energy. You don't get a free energy, you get the energy of the plasma, because the nano-coating stays constant. Now all the lines become absorbent of the energy, because the nano-coating will bring you everything. Listen to what our Mexican friends in their last teaching they said. And I repeated it before, I repeat it again. That they've taken the unit out of the house and they've taken it to the sisters or brothers' house. And the house originally was placed in 2 or 3 months. They're still using the energy without the meter running. You remember that? Going to the Spanish teaching last week. This is what's happened. It's not that the unit is working somewhere else, they're receiving free. They have nano-coated all the wires in the house. So now the house is a power supply. And then take the knowledge a step further. If what we've seen with the test with our dearest friend Alex, where he put the GaNs of the orange juice and the GaNs of the banana and the GaNs of the grass that he made him, drunk, into a system, and you place it in the cities. And you'll find out whatever the man needs at a given position, you place it. You provided food in the same order across the city. This should be within the next few months. If collectively as a human race we work to bring this into cooperation, there should be no one going hungry. If we can get 1 million units in Italy, Italy is a shoe. So if we can work very closely with all the Italians, we are here, we are committed to this country. Let us do it together. If we do it this way, that this is the boot of Italy, we forget about your kicking ball, what we call Sicily, and this is your country, like this way, it's our home now. If we put enough units across Italy, we managed to cover with the 1 million within the next few months, and you understand this proposition, you can imagine what happens in Italy. You don't need to pay a cent for energy to import, because enough unit will support. We can place conditions the same way across continents and nations. This is not a dream now. The technology is in our hand. The technology is on the move across borders. The technology is in different nations. Now it's for the humanity to start the process. You want water, you have to find out how to do it. You do not need to look for food. No Italian child, knowing this, should go hungry to bed, because he or she will never feel hunger, because he will receive the energy as he walks on the streets. I wonder if we see dogs or cats or birds eating each other in Italy. Yes.
What about the step-down transformers, 6,000 or 1.1 megawatt? Are they working with
That's the government's problem, not ours. That's a matter of state. They have to sort it out. Pardon? Where is your microphone? Sorry about that.
Okay. Instead to produce millions of units, isn't it more clever use the units for 3-4 months in one house and then move the units
We
away?
have to understand what happens to the next step. We have to understand. It's a development, it's evolution of the technology. The position is, it's a plasma. The position is, it's in a magnetic gravitational field. The position is that it's at the level, because it's made from the materials which our body is made. We only accept what we need from it. Are we going to have new cycle of or generation of people which, like in Italy, we don't see people driving behind you and they go, they all go. Have you seen it? Yesterday down the road, I was going home. Italians, they come about 5 centimeters, and I slowed next to the other car. The guy's going, ah! And I said, in a few weeks' time, the guy will go, no problem. I get home, I get home. All that will be all. It will happen because he receives what he needs. There is no rush to get somewhere. This is one thing I don't understand. What are we rushing for? Yeah. What happened? Are we losing or are we getting disrupted? Okay. It's okay. Let us know when you're ready. What? You want music? Hello, Vince. Hello. What's the problem? Is it with the online stream or is it with them? What do you mean, problem with the account? Have they closed it down again? Okay. What was the problem?
I think we got the live stream issue sorted out. It must have been just a little glitch with the live stream itself, the servers themselves. So Rick is coming back in right away. I think he's just on the Zoom here, and then we can continue if you're ready.
Is the live stream still on?
I think so.
Just getting it set up.
Okay, that's perfect.
Sorry about the wait, everybody.
Okay,
Excuse
we'll
me.
restart the
Can we go back to start? Going back to start.
Okay.
Ready to go. Is this from the screen there, or do they switch us off?
Give me another second here. We should be just about ready, Mr. Kesh. Sorry about that. Okay, just let me get the sound set up here. Okay, there we go. Okay, for people on live stream, this is part 2 of the 85th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. We had some kind of glitch in the live stream there. Okay, I think we're ready to get back into it here. Thank you, Mr. Kesh.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. What we were explaining was that if we manage to get enough systems across Italy, then we can support the whole of Italian community in energy, in power, in a coming time, in food, in medicine, where we can change the condition very rapidly. What is interesting, one of the smallest nations on this planet is right in the center of Italy, and it's known as Vatican. It's a government, it's a country, and it's right in the center, sits in the center of Rome. I was talking to one of these guys a couple of weeks ago, and Vatican has no power generator capability. They rely on the supply from Italian government. What about if we give a few units, power generators, one to sit in the center of Vatican, and then they're spread around the Vatican, and let's see if we can enlighten the whole Vatican in one go very freely. They say the proof of pudding is in eating it. It's a small country. It's got its own capacity measurements as a city, as a country. It's got its own ambassadors. So maybe when we meet with them next week, we can offer Vatican independent power supply. We plant one somewhere in the city, in the center, and we plant 10 or 15 units around the Vatican city on the borders of the castle. And then we let, if the gods want to speak through Vatican. Yes, it works, so we can give it to the rest of the nations on this planet. It's a small size capacity. That can be done. Yeah? On Monday, we're meeting with the officials from Vatican in Rome, and then we can offer them. I'm not here on Monday, I'm in Rome, and the people who know can arrange it, we can show it. and then we can test the rest of it. You got to understand something. The whole purpose of this technology is one race, one planet, one nation. We are blind to color, race, religion, and the rest. One of the most important will be India. Somebody is laughing. The tourists come and go, but the Holy Fathers are inside the buildings that are there, they live. So we can see the behavior of the world in the coming time in the priests. Would any of them will lie anymore? Or would they all speak the truth? Would they all tell us what they say is correct and we believe them? Because now from now on, nobody can lie. Then the very big question is, how will change the humanity? I think Vatican will refuse. Or they might accept for the energy, but they don't know what might come afterwards with it. As you know, a lot of people in this city are very old, they are priests. They have served their churches for years in different countries, and their wisdom has come to the center to be used by the others. A lot of them has a lot of illnesses. Can we see the change of course of illnesses in these old people? Very interesting. And it's just down the road from us. We can send Giovanni every day collecting data. I wonder how many people will sign sick today. What about if the owners of buildings, offices, put these units across their building for their power supply, and they see the change of conduct in their workers? There'll be no escarving, no, don't just sit there pretending to work, you work. There'll be no absentees because nobody will be sick to be absent. Would the production go up? Would the performance change? Or would it become the honest time to work? As I was explaining this years ago, we had a system in British Nuclear Fuel when I used to work. Is you were free to work 37 hours or 35 hours a week. And it was fantastic how the system was working 40 years ago. It was a perfect model. If you could repeat it, and people were the way it was happening then, you find efficiency at the maximum. We had 7 days working week. We had to fulfill minimum 4 days. I mean, you had to be in office for 4 days. You could work 3 12-hour shifts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, attend 1 hour on Thursday, and Thursday, 10 o'clock, you could leave and come back on Monday. But as long as the job was done. People used to organize themselves to be in time that together. We had groups of guys who used to turn up certain hours together. They could match their time for playing golf the rest of the week. It used to be known as the golfer clubs. So they fulfilled, and they were connected to each other. The work was related to each other. So they decided they play golf. So these are the times we're coming, 37 hours. The golf group used to turn up at the same time for work. So they knew the golfers are not here today. Because it was to serve the British nation in the nuclear industry, to see it through. And that was all the objective. The pay was good. Nobody had to be on a low level. All the payments in those days was very high. So there was no scraping, it was a satisfaction. And what did we achieve? What British government achieved in British nuclear a few years ago. It was a fantastic system. It works because people are happy. They come to work when they want to, and when they are there, they perform. They don't dive and dock. With these systems, you have everything you have. Would we see that change? Or would we see the absenteeism become so rare that the companies find out they have too many workers because everybody is working correctly? It's going to change a lot of things. I've seen things, I see people what they report from different applications of the system. Not worries. This is part of the work which we do in the foundation. Take people's worries away. Then they perform at their best. Maybe with this technology we can do that. If we cover Italy, maybe we cover Rome or we cover Vatican, the smallest nation on this planet more or less. You can go around the whole country, I think in less than 15 minutes. You can cover the whole Vatican City. Can we put beacons like units across the Vatican? Or shall we donate the first 100 units to Vatican? The process is very simple. The process is being able to transfer gravitational magnetic fields. Can we size it to 1? I'll put my ring on again. Can we size it to 1? Or can we allow it to expand? Can we test this in Italy? It's a half island country connected to the part of Europe. Maybe that's why we are here, to start a change from this point. There is a huge problem. There's going to be a huge problem is how we are going to transfer energy from here. As you know, Keshe Foundation is very, very strong in Italy. We have a huge supporters group. And a lot of them are practical people. They just don't look after their hair. They make things. You've seen him. What's his name? Is always on the truck, but still calls in and explains. Pardon? Stefano. What about all the Italians that start building your units and putting it through? Next month, or sorry, next week, we release 1,000 units in Italy. Can we ask the Keshe Foundation supporters, if you don't have energy unit, if you are in need, but you're not rich that you can have a warm winter, write to Keshe Foundation Italy, and maybe we send you a unit free. We start from home. Keshe Foundation website man is sitting here, Giovanni. Can you set such a thing up? Yeah? People genuinely need a unit this winter. People with family, old people. I want a unit for my mother who's poor or cannot afford heating this winter. Send us the address. Giovanni filters it. The way we invited people to, what do you call it, to the 16th ambassador meeting, we take 1,000 Italians through the Keshe Foundation supporters, and we give you a unit free. If you receive it and you think is what it is, and you like to donate something to the foundation that another Italian can be benefited by it, do so. You can handle. Yeah? So put a website, a link to your website, Magra Power Unit for donation. And if you are Italian listeners, write to go to the Keshe Foundation website, maybe tomorrow, whatever, whenever Giovanni can do it. And we collect 1,000 addresses, and we give 1,000 units free to the people who need it. If you are rich, if you have the capability and the means of paying for a unit, do so. But if you know an Italian family with children who's going to have a cold winter, especially in the north of Italy, because we live there, we know how cold it can get, write to the foundation, we send you a unit free. Even if that can reduce your electricity bill by 50 or 100 euro, 200 euro this winter till the system builds up in your house, it's still 200 euro food for the children. 1,000 units we allocated to Nigeria, 1,000 units we have given to Palestine. We do 1,000 units through the Cash Foundation, Italy. That's why it's set up there. We can do that. Yeah. So if you're Italian and you know, let's say, the families with children, because these are the target points, the elderly which have no money, they just live on a very small amount of income from the government, not only giving it to them, we have to set up a backup that we can install it for them. We can show them how to use it. We have Cash Foundation leaders in each district in Italy. It's been organized. Am I correct? We got to make them responsible. This is the unit going to this address. It's your responsibility to make sure they know how to use it. Let's do the job. In Nigeria, Alex, once they receive it, will teach the people how to connect and how to use it. But there is something very interesting is going to happen. This is something which we think, and we are 100% correct, hopefully, to say so. When you connect your unit to your main line and you use it in the house, what we have seen is a very strange phenomenon. All the Cash Foundation supporters around the world are aware of this. We've been demonstrating it for a long time. For every kilowatt of energy you consume, you put into the grid 4 kilowatt plasma energy. In the test here we did 2 weeks ago, in a specific condition, we have achieved 8 times. If we put 1,000 units across Italy and they use 2 kilowatt resistive plus non-resistive on top, let's say 3 kilowatt a day, we'll be booked back 3,000 kilowatt hour into Italian national grid. So, as we said, we'll share the knowledge and the benefit of the knowledge with Italians the way they supported us. We support the nation. And we put 1,000 units across Italy from Monday starting off. We pay for it. When you receive it and you're happy with it, you can donate to the foundation, into the bank of the foundation, and it allows us to produce more units for more Italians, for the rest of the people around the world. We have a very small team of about 20-25 people who are on the payroll of the Cash Foundation worldwide. And once we satisfy the expenses, which is very little compared to what is happening, the rest goes into the backup in supporting the nations and people who can. So let's test Italy as a first point. Go to the Cash Foundation italy.it. If you are an Italian passport holder, Italian address holder, and if you know someone, you can nominate. Could be your grandmother, could be your next door neighbor. And Giovanni is going to have a hectic time going through 1,000, maybe 10,000 applications. We don't going to judge you if it's a lie or it's a truth. Yes, the address is Cash Foundation Italy.it. Yes, it's a website. On the website, it is active. Everybody will go on it. It is. He's going to put a special email to the website. This is a website, Cash Foundation Italy.it. It's been there a long time. So on that website, Giovanni, today or tomorrow, is going to open a link where you can send emails or an application form.
It's just to clarify, it's not Cash Foundation Italy, it's Cash Foundation Italia.it.
Italia. Ah, okay. These Italians, they do the things their way. We call it Rome, they call it Roma. Okay. Italia. Cash Foundation, Italia.it. Let the group in the background do their work and set up a page where you can go in, fill in a form. We take on the sequences of first come, first serve. If you don't need it, you'll be dishonest people who will do it. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. If you're dishonest when you receive the system, you'll find out it will not work the way you want it. This is a very correct system. You will very understand very soon. Don't say, I got sick, I used the system, something was wrong with it, because you stole it from an old woman who could not heat herself and ended up with pneumonia in the hospital. You're paying for her pain. Understand this technology very clearly. So, you know someone who needs it? Who knows somebody needs a gift of life this winter to feed their children? Put priority for the families with the children, and Giovanni will give us a list. He will forward it to the factory, and the factory is blind to who's paid, who's not paid, because it's handled totally different way. We made sure of that. So they will never know somebody has paid, how much they paid, if it's a free unit or whatever. We feed the same way as we are feeding to the supply of the people who paid, or if you are rich enough, you can pay for 100 units. I want to donate 100 units across. That 100 unit you pay for, we back it by another 3, that's 300 units, plus 400 units will go to public. So you got to realize, fill in the form, and then we respond. Very strange things are moving here. Yes, no problem. You can record. It's we know they are jamming it. We understand how it's happening. We're expecting it. It's Thursday morning. Every Thursday they play with us, and we know who's playing. We have to find out how certain nation in western part of Europe is playing their game. So, in so many ways, the first 1,000 units, which is coming off production line in next 2-3 weeks, Africa to what do you call Italy and to Palestine. As we receive orders, we are distributing the same process on. And let's see, we can change the course through the Cash Foundation organizations. Maybe the week after or next month, we ask for 10, 20 Cash Foundations around the world to nominate people in their country. Don't give it to your cousins or to your uncles. Give it to the nationals. And try to choose your nationals spread across Italy, spread across your nation, that we can achieve this goal, that we spread enough across the nation that we start seeing the benefit of it. I think when you choose the destination, choose it across Italy. Yeah? You understand? That we don't put it all in Rome or in the north. You understand? Create a net. And then when we put the next 1,000 units in Italy, we create the next net. You understand? So we control the distribution. A lot of Italians have bought units. You receive your units coming days. The factory will start the work of the distribution. You got to understand, we have started employing large number of people in the factory. We are creating jobs. We become now part of the structural workforce of Italy. And my instruction has been to the factory directors who are running it for the workforce. They have to be paid according to plus market, which
Mr.
means,
Kesh?
yes?
Just a question regarding that as well. People are asking online if there is a way to buy just the casings of the units.
Casings? Why do you want the casings? You want to cheat to say you bought it? Oh, use your pizza stacker. Why you want to cheat? What do you want my box for? Very soon they just want the logo. No problem. Logo is free. We haven't copyrighted the logo. We put a C on it to keep it for the copyright. It means belongs to the world population. This copyright C we put on the Keshe Foundation logo, which you see, means doesn't belong to the Spaceship Institute. It belongs to humanity. Means this time nobody can come and say, I decided the logo to be mine because it has a color red. That color red has cost 363,000 euro this month. So that logo you can copy, but understand it has an ethos. That copyright logo, which is done by Renan, belongs to humanity, it belongs to the worldwide. Means nobody can ever take it off. It belongs to the Keshe Foundation, and the Keshe Foundation is owned by every living thing who can think and have a soul on this planet. Even the fishes can claim it, if you can find a mermaid who speaks. So, if you see your conduct is correct, you made a system that your work and the use of it is the correct way, it's your logo, it doesn't belong to the foundation. This is how it works. People, they think, I'm going to copy the logo of the Keshe Foundation and I'll put it on my company products, whatever I produce. You will come and tell us, I use this system, there is something wrong with it, because it's made with the wrong intention. When you receive the units, when you dedicate or allocate a unit to somebody, when they receive it, tell them to pray for it, that it serves them right. So, as I said, we have sold 1 unit, or we received 3 units free. We distribute the first as it comes, as the availability. If we sell the first million at a price which is going at the moment, you have to understand 3 million people around the world who receive free units. We'll do it, we'll try to be as transparent, but we have set the structure to be done through the Keshe Foundations. Keshe Foundations around the world will take over distribution because all the people who are around the Keshe Foundation around the world are of the same ethos. I've received a very interesting communication last night that they are going to release something about my private life, how I fell in love with a woman, and they call it Mrs. X. This story is already known throughout the world, and now they've seen the Keshe Foundation breaking through, they want to score a point for themselves. These are the enemies of the foundation who've been sitting around to do the damage. So, in so many ways, The technology sits on its merit of its serving the humanity, not on what people try to do. Every time we launched, we had the success after success. On the point, they brought the server down. On the point, they took the logo off and everything else. And now with this, it's the biggest hit they think gonna go the maximum to. The humanity works on what the technology delivers, and humanity goes on how we can serve and give love to each other and caring for each other. So you got to realize something very simple. We spend this week, we taught you everything. Tomorrow is your turn. Tomorrow whole day. If you have something, you manage to finish a system, we give you the opportunity to show it. Then stack your system up. Put the system, you made the rings, you made the coils, put them on, and even if it goes spark blank, whatever, we know you have water in it. If your wires heat up, it means you have chosen undergauge wire. All you need is to change. These systems, I'm going to show it to you, and that's what we said from the beginning. Pardon? They are absolutely damage proof. You cannot do, unless you click it, you can do whatever you like with it. You want to shake it? Oh, you can do whatever you like with it. You cannot damage it. Probably the box. So, you, huh? No, the glue doesn't work. We know that. Sorry, but that's the American glue. This is what you brought. Don't blame the Italians for it. It's a composite glue you brought from America. Get your glue sorted. So, what we cannot take it out because it's connected to the wire there in the fuse box. You see, you better watch with the Italians. We're becoming a better supporter. We live here. We have to look after them. So, what I said, you can do whatever you like with these systems. Remember the first time when I showed it, I kicked it, and they made a video of it, the Italians? What's his name? Emanuel Nushka made a kick out of it in the video. Now, you see exactly what we told you. You can't do any damage to these systems. Even the plastic breaks, the wiring, you see, you built it yourself. You cannot damage it. This is the beauty of the technology. It's solid, it's built and made according to the work of the universe. If you can crack a galaxy, if you can crack a universe, you can crack the work of the system. It breaks up, mend it. These systems will last for centuries. If this planet lasts that long. You see, you get me doing things. Now we can't get the American glue back on. You can't blame the Italians. Don't say Italian work. This is the glue you brought from United States. So you still see, it says, a bit of scratch on the paint, but it says Magra Power. You built it, you're building it. Tomorrow and whole of next week, as we come online, you show your systems, we show it around the world. You learn something, teach us. Pardon? Yes. Yes, Carly is a Chinese Carly is a Chinese Cash Foundation. He's the Chinese guy you heard his voice talking and it was released on the internet. He's a very active member in Chinese Xinjiang area of the research center they've opened up. He sends us continuously new knowledge, new ways, new You saw him last week when we were talking with China. He was showing that. Yeah. Late for it. It's only 6 o'clock ahead of us. Ah, okay, no problem. Maybe we use him tomorrow. Or maybe come back. Yes, can we show? Do you want us to share a screen?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna, let's see.
Who's this one?
This is Kel-El, Mr. Kesh from America.
Ah, okay.
Let me see, because they're actually, let me see. Just give me a few seconds. Give me a few seconds, Vince, to find them.
Has the live stream come back on?
No, somehow I'm not able to broadcast from my location to the live stream right now.
Can somebody else do?
It's
Have they blocked your IP? Somebody remotely has blocked your IP into.
something like that.
Yeah, they did that with this building. It's done by the Belgium securities. In this building, we could not get Cash Foundation ourselves in the building while we were here.
Yeah.
And then we found out they said something inside the building internet. They infiltrated the building. We had it the first couple of weeks we were here. So they blocked the IP in certain lines. We had Cash Foundation head office here, and we could not get Cash Foundation on the internet in the building. The time of these sabotages is over. Can you get on? Have you managed to get on the system?
Yourself there, Kal-El, right? They weren't any copyrighted videos. They were yours yourself, correct?
Yeah, we actually set up an entire setup for you so that we could just go over all of the Ganses that we had in the reactors. But it's a different time zone in America because they're in Texas. We've been working on it about maybe as many as 500 people that are working in different various stages of it. But we set up an entire lab, so to speak, with everything in it. But there's a time difference, so I'm not sure if the guys have fallen asleep over there.
Excuse me, can you repeat how many of you there?
I'm actually doing it through a radio show, and I'm doing it all over the country. So it's sometimes as many as 500 people at one time that are in various stages of nanocoding it, all the way throughout all the teachings.
Ah, okay. And you have a center in the state doing this?
Right now, Mr. Cash, I'm just doing it all on my own. I just think that the information is so powerful that I didn't want to wait, so I just started to teach.
Get in touch with Armin on Cash Foundation USA. And if you need support from us there, we can back you up. The American Cash Foundation, as you know, has moved with a hit strategy even by 50,000 points in past week or so, 2 weeks or so. The statistics we monitor. So it's a huge number of people in the US who support Cash Foundation or around the foundation looking at options. And Armin is traveling back to US this weekend, and some units will be delivered to the State Department for evaluation of American government. For the technology, it's already made, arrangement has been made. He will deliver 2 or 3 units to the State Department for energy, for evaluation and examination of the units for use in US. Oh, a little fly on it. Is it better? Okay, can we get this video or we cannot get there? Fallen asleep.
Yeah, I think they might have fallen asleep, Mr. Cash. I'm actually traveling, so I'm in Europe right now, and there's a big time difference from over there to right now.
Okay, is there anybody else? I think a lot of you got knocked out by realizing that you have to make your capacitor units. You were not prepared for this. And now you have to make the capacitor units, nanocoat them. I think Monday, Tuesday will be a good time to see the first results coming in. By the time you make capacitors, you place them in, you get them working. On Tuesday teaching, we open a Tuesday again as an open day teaching to see if anybody wants to come out to show. But by that time, hopefully, around the world, people who have received their units will report back to us what they received, and we show them how they have to do it. Because all the purchased units should be around the world by that time. Any questions? What's the time? Is it 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock? Past? 12. Okay, thanks. Okay, now let's go to a teaching point. Now you have the whole thing. Don't forget, now you know exactly what you have and you know exactly what you got to do. Okay. There are a few points. What happened? I can't go back. I lost my pages. Once again. Okay, we are back here. Remember everything which we have explained. When you make your capacitors, make sure the capacitors are insulated from each other physically. When you make your capacitors, forget one thing. Even the line of connections you connect at the end, twist them in. In here, when you connect these lines, twist them around the line and twist it back in. You have to keep to the same work all the time. If you make a capacitor set of parallel unit and you leave this end open, that's your loss. These are the things I was teaching to the guys in the factory, because to them it was just bundling things together. That was good enough. They came to understand every little thing counts. When you're stacking your capacitors, try in your housing to keep them in a position that they do not interfere with each other magnetically. When you connect all the wires from one stacker to another, follow the same procedure. Always the same left-hand turn. Always turn your wires left-hand turn when you're connecting to each other. Just don't go is there. Everything has to be left-hand turn. Your coils. Otherwise you find out zero performance. If you get one coil in the setup clockwise, anti-clockwise, you'll find problem in your setting. Understand, if you get a big bang, you have possibly moisture, and if you tried everything and the system doesn't work, 99% your failure is at the point of your wire going to the supply. It has melted. It has disconnected from nano coating. If you get a disconnection with your unit and you leave it for a while and it comes back, you have the same process. It means you had or you have a weakness in your coating. Golden rule, and please understand, it takes us 1 second if you say your system doesn't work to see if you exceeded 1000-watt power system. Do not overload. Try to underload at least for the first few days, for the first few weeks. One of the ways we see is, instead of connecting the system directly into your power supply and load it up, if you connect it to your power supply, try to understand what you're loading on. If you pass the 2000 kilowatt resistor, otherwise, just go across the system and look what you have not done or what you need to do. If you use a cascading system, you put a power unit at the beginning of the house and a power unit at the end of the house, you have to wait that the two sides meet, that you have nano-coated the whole structure. Nano-coating takes time. You've seen it. You put your wires in a caustic and you wait 24 hours to nano-coat a small plate. Now you have to understand, with a plasmatic, you have to nano-coat both ends. In our experience, in our test, we have loaded 5.4 or 5.3 kilowatt energy at this end, and we have seen no problem. We have connected in one test up to 4 kilowatt here, and we have seen no problem. Don't forget, I work with different groups in different parts of the world and try to understand out-of-box teaching and research. So, in so many ways, you understand the positioning. Let me explain to you something very interesting. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute is looking for scientists to join us on a full-time basis for developing of new technologies. We have a pay charter standard. You'll be paid according, but these scientists to develop the space technology in health, in energy, in food, will work from here, this center. It means you have to relocate yourself. All the research will be done here. So we are looking to take up initially in 2016 up to 1,000 plasma scientists. Plasma scientist to us is not if you have a PhD in anything. Your PhD is in understanding the work of the plasma. You've seen one of our top scientists in plasma, which is serving the foundation perfectly, is Alex, a barber in London, which now has been accepted to teach a nation. You've seen Arman, with no PhD in nanotechnology, is the ambassador of the Keshe Foundation around the world, and he teaches. So we are looking for our scientists, the scientists who understand the work of the plasma, the work of nanomaterial in plasma, and very soon the way we are teaching of the free plasma without containment, understanding, trusting in the work of the universe. So if you're a scientist in the new plasma, we are looking, we have the accommodation up to 200 people in this building we can accommodate over 2016, and we can build on or add within the environment here. So we are looking for scientists, developers, not time wasters. You can show us what is the possibility. You can put it on the table, not talking. We are prepared to finance new research, and with it, the research will be going on. On Monday, Tuesday, we have an Italian lady who's joining us here on a part-time basis. She's bringing the application of the medical application with a CO2 and a GANS with a what we call the Russian technology development, part Italian development, into the work of the Keshe Foundation. If you have any kind of illness and you are, or you want to be, what do you call it, processed through this technology, we're going to allocate, she has a room in this building, in this structure, that you can come. We want to understand the disease of humanity, and she will release the data. She works the same as us. If you are a scientist and you have found different ways of feeding or producing systems that it can cause or release energy in different forms for medicine, for health, or for agriculture, we give you the room. No time wasting. People who talk sweet, we found out they haven't delivered anything up to now. So you are given a chance to deliver. If you want to do it, you've seen it the way we did it yesterday. JF in Canada has come up with a situation where he can produce the coils, he can produce the nano coating. The foundation from this week puts his systems up for sale on the foundation. So not only we give him a job, he creates jobs in Canada, so we're seeing the spin-off. So we work as one family, and as of early next year, we are looking for 1,000. We have the financial capability to support 1,000 delivering research scientists in agriculture, in health, in space, and whatever you develop. You go on the 5th floor in the first, second week of January, you sit down with our scientists or engineers in the factory, you put it out, 3D system will make it. If it works, we carry on developing it, we carry on producing it in the factory, the same process. Because now the Keshe Foundation has become a vertical structure, which means from the point of teaching to the thoughts, to R&D, to manufacturing, to marketing, to delivering, all stays in one house. I have run vertical systems for 20 years around the world, and this is how I plan this place to be. I have always worked vertical because this way everybody works. The wastage of human resources is very little because everybody knows everybody and they know each other's function. So from next few weeks, this becomes the Spaceship Institute Research Center, and we are looking for scientists who work on donation. We do not employ no one on the books of the Keshe Foundation. This is the way the foundation works. We agree you fall within the category of the payments of the foundation. We donate funds to you every month, the same amount, to everybody the same. Nobody will ask nobody, how much you're getting paid? Are you getting paid more than me? Do I need to do overtime? Doesn't work that way here. You donate your time, and we donate the resource of the foundation to you, for you and your family to live a comfortable life. So if you have developed, you want to develop, you want to manufacture something, come to the foundation for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 10 years, whatever you see. And we make Barletta the center of the spaceship program. And as I said, Italians gave us home, we gave them a technology. We increase the power of the foundation across the nation. When you finish here, you go back, you monitor the development, you monitor the commercialization, and if there is a benefit through the commercialization, you'll be allocated 3% of the standard rate of the shareholding of the invention. Then allows the other one to come in through and allows us to develop. I've set up a structure that now from today on, from this week on, Keshe Foundation works as one family across the world. Doesn't matter where you are, who you are. You develop the system for watering the plants through the gas or through energy, through plasma. You can come here, we give you time, you can show it, you can go upstairs on the 5th floor, commercialize it, sit with our engineering department, which is moving in from Rome to here, and they make the prototype, you test it, works, goes back to the factory. You can monitor the production worldwide and take charge to go to different factories of the Keshe Foundation's group and teach them, work with them, and do the same. So now, from today, we announce we're looking for 1,000 scientists. Don't waste time. You have a technology. We've seen it from, what do you call it, Mexico. Agriculture development, we support them. In the coming weeks, we support the gentleman in Mexico who's done so much. The Chinese, the same. We do the same with the spaceship program. We will announce in the coming weeks a new flight pattern, flight system to coincide with the 21st of January or 21st of April meeting in Tehran. That a flight system can be shown. So you got to realize the foundation belongs to you, not to us. As I said, the Keshe Foundation, SSI Spaceship Institute logo is yours. You got to be proud to carry it because it's you who can bring it down and nobody else. You have developed a technology for pads. You have produced a technology for pens. You've got a technology for agriculture, for food. We give you room. The room is in this building. You don't need to go anywhere else. And if we are short of a space, we have 60,000 square meters to put porta cabins outside. Don't worry, don't laugh. I worked as one of the top scientists, the head of British nuclear fuel in England, where we worked. We all worked at a porta cabin. It wasn't posh buildings. We worked in a farm, in a cowshed, and because it was expanded so much, the director of the site, one of the top nuclear physicists in the world, we all worked at a porta cabin. The building doesn't count, the knowledge you bring counts. I remember when I used to walk in the corridors, the porta cabins, they put British nuclear industry, top scientists working in these cowsheds, expanded. The porta cabins were put facing each other. And in the middle, they put like pallets. So I used to walk like this, they could hear me coming. You could hear the noise in each porta cabin. And the top man, top nuclear physicist in England, head of the British Nuclear Fuel Division, was working at the porta cabin. The place is irrelevant. What you bring in always counts. The expansion is, we can accommodate certain numbers. You bring new knowledge. The target is to develop a full technology that we can go into space, knowing at least we covered most of the points. Possibly, we're going to make mistakes. But our target is latest 21st of April 2016, trying to show the first lift system internationally in Tehran. So you developed, you think your technology can be used very small way. You've seen how a little wire with a couple of turning of wires on it now has become a pen product for your paint. And the man who's put it so openly is part of a group. We work in the background for different things, the technology, knowledge transfer, gravitational magnetic field. He added it up. He came up with what it was, bringing the energy unit into health unit. You got to start collecting data. We're looking for people who can support for collecting data and information, transcription of all the teachings, categorizing all the teachings. It's a huge demand. A lot of information is taught without being transcribed. We are looking for a huge number of support to allow the technology to do. I can take finances from giving free units to people around the world to pay wages for people to transcribe. If you're coming here and taking knowledge freely, put something back, transcribe the teachings or whatever, and put it back into the system. So if you have in your mind and you have tested something and you think it'll be good to commercialize it, for the others to benefit by it, your commercialization is by adding it to the blueprint bank. The blueprint teaching, which is we had this week, is part of the blueprint bank which we announced. You come in, you put it in. You can add videos of what you did, or you want to commercialize it, you can contact us. We can bring you in, test it, develop it, and take charge over its commercialization that other people can benefit by it around the world. Any questions? You got to remember one thing. We are not looking into the banks. We are not borrowing money. We are investing what you trusted back in us with you, with the rest of humanity. There are people who are buying units to see one or two what it is, that they can buy more as agents or whatever. You're quite welcome. It has to be tested. It has to be developed. We have people who want to be part of a technology, but in the way they like to be. You're quite welcome. We are not looking for PhDs. We are not looking at no man's certificate, because in a space there are no universities and there are no PhDs.
Mr. Kesh, there's a couple of people with comments and questions regarding, for example, as Glenn asks, as a student in my house, it's okay to nano coat, but if I want to stop the extension of the nano coat, can I use a different metal before my fuse box? And some people are interested, they're in an apartment, and is the nano coating of their wiring going to spread to the neighbor?
Yes, it does.
Will that be a problem for?
It does. Your system nano coats the whole building.
Will that be a problem for the ordinary electricity?
No. They start getting free energy. I don't think they'll object. The only thing they'll see is their bill going down, but they don't know why. You can go and knock on the door in 3 months and says, has your electricity bill changed? If not, yes, they have. Says, how much are you saving? Can I have 10% of it? I've done it for you free.
So in effect, the entire building becomes like a receiver and transmitter of energy.
Yes, because the unit can do, yes. You nano coat it. So they're actually taking from your unit. They're coming through the back door. As I said, go back to the teachings of a few weeks ago. The problem will sit with nuclear power stations, because you'll be nano coating all the way right into the center of the fuel rods. Bless you. It means it's going to happen. We just got to wait for it. You started the process. We are here to support and are goal is, as you know, we do not use GANs and nanomaterials in any of our teachings. We're going to step further. This week, we've gone backwards to show the use of GANs and nanomaterial. In the teaching of the Keshe Foundation now in the Institute, we do not consider any matter state. What you see here on the table belongs to downstairs. It's in the museum of the laboratory. Nobody's been there, I think, working properly for a night. Correct? Marco was shocked. There is nothing to do. Now I have to use my own way. And Arman is totally lost. There is no more nano coating to do. Pardon? Because you have to realize what we are teaching you now with the power unit is already ancient compared to what we're teaching now with respect to plasma. It's in a matter state. But this is what was a way to break through the knowledge across this planet in the easiest way. You were so hungry for the power that we gave you the whole lot of it. It depends now how you can handle the power. It's a power of knowledge and science in the hand of common man. And usually we've seen common man because he doesn't carry a certificate of knowledge. He looks at everything in a natural way and they find new solutions, new dimensions. So if you have, or if you think you can add to the knowledge and you can bring in to make life comfortable for other people, we give you time, space, and the finances. We are looking for people who have or tested the technology for animals, because we need animal psychologists or vets which can develop this technology for doing the same thing through animals. They understand their behavior, what changes, how we can help the animals. We're looking for people who work in the pesticide section of the agriculture. If you can put CO2 or a gas combination where you don't harm another animal to kill as pesticide, to create a new environment that they go somewhere else, but allow the agriculture to grow in a comfortable way, we are looking for that kind of people. Because this is what is the next step is about. Water purification systems. Contamination of the waters is one of the biggest problems. We need a specialist who can specifically design a MAGRA power level that can extract different things from waters. We see contaminated waters across the world. Now, the technologies, what literally you got to do is very simple. And that is, you have to come up with a system which, when you put it in work, it creates, it creates a gravitational magnetic field around it that gravitational magnetic field can pick up any contamination from a distance. This is the new technology. This is how it's supposed to work. And if you can understand it, this is what we are looking for. We are not looking for new chemistry, chemical solutions. We are looking for new understanding of that you can create a gravitational magnetic field system that, for example, can take cesium out of anything, can take copper contamination out of the water, that you can understand the gravitational magnetic field of your system matches the gravitational magnetic field of the contamination. This is the new way to work. We are not looking for chemical binding and the rest. This is the matter state. It's very simple to understand. We are looking for the strength measurement of magnet for any material. You're looking for a magnet of arsenic in the water that you can attract yourself to it. We are looking for a magnet of radioactive materials in the water to attract with it. You understand this will come a lot easier. You can sometimes change it, but this is what we are looking, a new plasma scientist. What happens? All you're going to be left with is reservoir of the material you have collected in this pot. Now, instead of having all the radioactive material, let's say in a lake, we can collect them specifically, and then we have a bank of new materials. We can separate it. Water contaminations. We are looking for scientists who can help us to build the new earthquake systems using magnet technology. What does this mean? At the moment, if you are a civil engineer, you know how to start the vibration from the earth when you construct a building. Leading on the path of science, just nipped by the magnets. So, what we need what we call gravitational magnetic field shock absorbers. What you need to do, you need to create plates, more or less, which are nano-coated or GaNs-coated, that the absorption from the shocks is absorbed as a field within the layers. This is part of the priority. We just heard that Nepal had a very bad earthquake in April. A lot of people got hurt, and months down the road, nobody has done anything about it. What is looking for, what we need, is very, very simple. You have seen the magnetic pads, the health pads. There's one here, so there was one here. The health pads is a magnetic plate. We need layers of magnetic plates which they create gravitational magnetic field of the Earth replication, and they can turn it back on itself. These are very simple things. These are the gaps in the knowledge for the use on this planet. So what you do when you build a building, at the moment, you put what they call a waterproof bed. This waterproof bed, now with the technology we have, should be easy to become vibration absorption too. That you absorb the energy of the vibration in nano layers, in the GaNs layers, so the building does not shake. If the building absorbs, the layers absorbs the vibration through nano layers, the brickwork above does not come to an end. These are the people with our line of thinking we are looking for to join us in January. We are looking for health sections where the new, what we taught, dialysis machines using nanomaterial gap can be used for replacement of laborious hours and hours of sitting every day in hospitals or on the dialysis machines. Systems can be made with a filtering with a gap. Don't forget what I told you the first time. People could see this by the diamond dealers of Antwerp ports, where they saw the gaps in the material, and they said it's like a sieve. Now you can measure the size of this gap and how you want it to be. What do you want to absorb? 11, 9 is for the red blood cell, 11 for 8, that you can filter any 8 cell. Now, with different materials, you can create a space capping. This is what the plasma technology is about. We need to understand how plasma can be worked. A few thousand pieces will cost less than a few dollars, but it changes a lot of lives. Don't forget what I explained to you very recently, that we just put this size plate, nano-coated, in a pool, and we see no algae. So, is this a way to create a condition that water contaminations can be sorted? Are we selling these nano-coated plates, which is going out of here, like what we've done with copper wire for 100 years? Just one nano-coating, where they have different application forms. So, the center is open for research, but by you, and we're not looking at no PhDs, because we haven't issued any PhDs yet. And I don't think any institute of the Keshe Foundations ever will give any degrees. You are masters, and the masters we call it means you have mastered the art of plasma. Not master as a master, you have a degree. You master the art of plasma, you can serve humanity, and that's all it counts. Any questions? Yes. Microphone. Pardon? Your battery, hold on to it till it goes green. Yes.
I said we can hang them in a fish tanks, because fish tanks every month they have to clean because of algae.
Yes. But don't forget the trick. Try it at home. You have a fish tank.
Yes.
Is it the one mermaid in it or no mermaid in it?
My son's mermaid.
Your son is a mermaid. Remember the test we did for Fukushima? You remember in the Sensano?
Yes.
We took the what do you call it, the tap holes, the little frogs, and we put them in the buckets. They were alive because we had to send the units to Fukushima for testing. They were alive when we gave them the CO2. The legs came out. We reported some deformities. When we put the guns, they died. Guns of copper, they died very quickly. You have to stop. If you're putting, this is what we've done in the pool, this nano-coated copper is in a plastic bag, sealed plastic bag, where the fields of the copper are interacting across the pool. So when you put the copper plate in the fish pond, if you don't want to have one of those, what they call the suckers, they suck, clean the windows, the window cleaners, make sure the, what do you call it, the copper plate is fully covered. Because if it leaks, no fish.
I know that because we fed copper gans into fog container one.
Pardon?
That's why they died.
You did that?
Yes, we did. One with the CO2, one with the copper. Which the
Yeah.
copper we fed.
The one we
they
fed the
died.
copper, animals died very quickly within a day.
But CO2,
The
we had
CO2, they get the energy from it. There was no problem. So make sure, maybe Now we can produce antifungus units even for the home. Are these copper plates a way to destroy fungus at home? It's one of the biggest problems. Old people don't like to have the window open, especially in the bathrooms, especially in the winter time. And they try to keep everything tight, that everything stays in. It happened to my father. I nearly lost him last year because of this. And the fungus managed to get behind the window and it went in his lung. Maybe this is a way to do it. We sell patches. You can put 2 or 3 around in the house and we don't see no fungus. I want to try this because I know where I can go to. There's always looking how it can be done. We have about 1,000 nanoplates, copper plates, somewhere in the foundation. It's going. Giovanni, are those 1,000 plates been organized that you can go to the factory, or we still have a hassle with it? You speak. Please speak. This morning, as you know, hopefully tomorrow the pads are in the way to the factory. Today, probably today. This morning I spoke with the factory. 10,000 more pads are on the way to Italy, arriving early November. So we have the back of 15,000, 16,000 pads, health pads to be distributed in Europe. We are ready to dispatch. Next second week of November, we have 10,000 pads, what they call pens, available for distribution. The minute they are finished, they go on the website. So you see, we are looking to expand the knowledge, and there's another Wild West is understanding the new way to do it.
Mr. Cash?
Yes?
Hello there. I'm calling you from Bulgaria, and I've been following you over YouTube for the past couple of days and before, and I just installed Zoom, so I'm a bit new here. I just want to ask you a question. Have you ever considered making the guns with silver water? Silver water is, do you know
With
what?
Pure water.
Silver water, yeah.
Silver water.
Silver water.
Yeah, let me start my video and I'll show you the device with which you make silver water. Okay, this is the device. It's Dr. Silver 101 Plus. You just fill the bucket with the beacon, or a bucket with water, say 1 liter. Just place the device inside and squeeze it on the top, and it starts an electrolysis process via a silver electrode, which releases silver ions in the water. This way, you add to the guns. You said use copper, you use zinc, put 1.5 volts under 0.5 amps, which could be driven from a normal battery. And this is the same thing, but add silver to the mixture. And
you know, this equipment has created a huge controversy with the World Health Organization. It was tested in respect to E. coli and Ebola in West Africa.
It won't help. Sorry.
Pardon?
It won't help for Ebola, but it actually kills pathogens like fungus and bacteria in people.
Yes.
And that's why in India, in the river Ind and Gang, people go and bathe themselves with this water, and they never suffer.
Yes, I'm aware of this. I do not know how it works. Is scientific base behind it? I came across it because, as you know, we submitted CO2 GANs for E. coli and Ebola to this to the South University of Sierra Leone, which we collaborate with, and they took the material to the Office of the President of Sierra Leone, and World Health Organizations confiscated everything, and the scientists were told they cannot collaborate with Keshe Foundation in this matter. But they came back to the laboratory in South, Sierra Leone University, and they reset up the whole thing and they tried it with E. coli, and they saw it 100% reduction, which we reported. These kind of material processes, if it's plasmatic, it is. I've never looked into it. That's how I came across it to know, and I know the person who was trying to
when you said wash the liquid with the ionized water to get rid of the salt, this will help as well, and I'm actually going to experiment with it in the coming 2 to 3 days. So
it's a part of the technology. I do not understand it. I've never investigated it deep enough, but that's how I came across it. Apparently, it's been around for a long time. It's not something new.
I know.
It's been used in ancient times.
No, not really, even today, because I started alternative clinics for curing people over Europe, around Europe, and it works.
But if you read some articles about it, the knowledge in this system you're showing is known technology. It's been used a long time.
Yeah, but it will help for the guns because copper, zinc plus silver works.
Silver and copper are a way that the energy links up with dispersing the condition for existence of microbes. They create, in certain position condition, an environment in a way that, if you look at it, does not allow the present gaps in the structure to create a field that anything can receive energy. They take all the energy. That's how it works. It's not that the copper GANs or what you call silver water are magic. The understanding from what we see in the copper is that even the copper which is put on the wall instantaneously gets oxidized and partially becomes nanolayer. They create a nanostructure that they create a field that nothing can be attached to it. And that's how it works.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you very much. Because if you understand, the latest, operating rooms in the most advanced hospitals in the world now, they use only copper. Everything has to be made of copper. Because the copper creates this stopgap to be filled magnetic gravitationally, and nothing can attach itself to it. Because if you now take aluminum, copper, or whatever, and change the operating rooms, just take a cling film, the aluminum foil films, and put it in the operating room, and just put a caustic on it, nano-coated, you find the same proposition. You create a magnetic field which nothing can attach itself to it. It's Teflon condition, but you create a plasmatic Teflon. And it cannot go, nothing can go wrong with it. We understand this is part of the technology, we understand fully. You don't create you don't create a condition that the fields, entities like bacteria and microbes and the other things which have a COH connection can exist in. you create a field which, have a look at the structure, you understand why. Understand the gravitational magnetic field of how life attaches itself to amino acid, and then when you use a copper in gravitational magnetic field, it creates a condition that literally expands the fields and fields, and that gap separation allows no new life strength to achieve to sustain life. What's the time? Shall we call it the lunchtime? 1 o'clock? Almost, yeah. Okay, we come back at 2. We call it the day for this morning. And we go, what I would like to teach, or at least to discuss this afternoon, because I've received some communication, people like to know a little bit more. What is the status of the soul in respect to the emotional part of the man? And somebody has asked us a few times, can you explain the status of the soul of the prophet of God in respect to humanity? We try to explain this, that you understand the way we look at it. It's for you to decide. Thank you very much for this morning. And sorry about the interruption. It's all to do with the physicality of the internet.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
think
Cash.
maybe got emotional a little bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cash.
Okay, that's the end of the 85th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and we'll be putting a more complete workshop up on the live stream, which was fragmented today. We'll edit a fuller version, complete version, get that up soon. That's about it. We have the acknowledgements at the end here for the music that's been donated, and we appreciate that. And any other help that can be donated for the Cash Foundation at this point is also appreciated. We do need help. A lot of action. Okay, thank you everybody, and we'll close the live stream